Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's VIN-dow with Robert Hollinshead. Good afternoon, Bob.
Happy beautiful. Hey, Shorty. How you doing, pal?
Good,
nice
good.
Day in October.
Yeah, we finished up last week or this week was Canadian Thanksgiving, so that's out of the way and onward.
I'm sorry. Happy Thanksgiving to you, friend.
Well, apparently
that's a cultural blind spot. You know, we're so ignorant we don't recognize other people have big holidays and so forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's and our harvest is a good month and a half ahead of yours anyway, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's happening in the market, and then let's dive into a little extra for everybody.
Yeah. So obviously it's not a tailspin, but it's a definite. I don't think anybody's going to deny the fact that we're going in an opposite direction. When we are doing the data for galves and for AccuTrade, it's very clear. You know, the no sale rate in the vast majority of lanes is skyrocketing. There's no interest. Nobody cares. The best ones are still bringing rocket money, but everything else is, very lackluster at best. So, of course, it's October. Of course, it's new model year. All the rest of the nonsense that we normally deal with feels a little different to me. And that's just my personal sense of, how the wholesale market is actually moving right now, which obviously is an indicator that most franchise. There's always somebody, you're talking about I'd buy anything. Most franchise dealers have no interest in late model cars because they're peeing in their underwear trying to sell what they got new. So that's not like revolutionary in terms of like insight. But I'm watching different things, right? With this whole electric car thing. You get a good late model e-tron or some sort of Equus or BMW something, electric something, right? And they basically are flat out sale proof. Sale proof. When I say sale proof, I ain't talking about cheap. It's okay, you can do it, right? They're just flat sale proof, which means there's like like an obtuse thing with consumers. I believe it's directly related to the first time you do it, you go ahead and take the dive, and you watch that energy gauge diving off a cliff, and then thinking about the fact that you now have to plan where you're going. No, you're just going to work, you're coming home. You're going to work, come home, you plug it in. I get that. I really do get that. That in that case, you spend $147,000 for a car to go to work and come home. But I'm in one. I just came back down home to Florida for the season, and I got like a really nice thing sitting in the garage because I bought it around the corner. I told them to drop it off, and it's all charged up and so forth, right? Little Tesla, you know what I mean? Nice, really nice. 70,000 less than it was new with 10,000 miles on, a separate issue. But in other words, I get in the car and go, it goes for, first of all, trying to get in and out of the car. I got my leg was playing football and as an 11th grade or something. It's all caved in because the getting in and out of the car, the doorpost is in a really weird place. So I'm not complaining about that. It's electric and fast and all the rest of it, right? And it's nice and it's good, but I'm getting this range anxiety is absolutely for real. Our office is about 20 miles from my house, and I hop in a car in the morning. First of all, it was all charged up when I get here. I get in the morning, it's got 280 miles, but I go around a corner to go down to the thing and back, and it's the 240 miles. I went 10 miles. It's lost 60 miles. I get in the car to go up the street and back, which is a 40-mile round trip, and it's 100 miles less in the fuel tank, in the electric tank, in the lithium tank, right? And I'm saying, wait a minute, this for me, this don't make any sense. I'm not organized enough to go planning every time I'm going to move my toe somewhere from another place that I got to start calculating things or figure I'm going to sit and lay around for a week waiting for something to get done. Oh no, they got fast charge. I got you. But from my perspective, it makes no sense. And this actually started making me think, there's a lot of guys that, follow the statistics and the things, and there's how many less and Chinese do more and things. And I'm saying this is all good, but I got a small problem. I got a problem because as I'm thinking about this, and we're talking about carbon footprints, the end of the world, and we're going to save the world, and the house ain't going to be inundated with water because the you know, the sea level came up 4 inches and all the rest of it, right? I'm thinking about this, and I'm saying, gee whizlikers, holy schmazzoli, and so forth. And you got two plastic bottles sitting on your desk. You already threw away three because you put it in for your coffee. You did the other thing. So at the end of the day, you did 12 bottles of water. You unwrapped your mail, which you have to take out another plastic bag of trash just from the mail that came today with all the plastic, and then your water bottles and the other thing, and then of course you put that in a big plastic bag that goes into the bigger plastic bag that goes out to the plastic trash can, twice a week, right? And that's just two little people. We're living like a simple life, right? And I'm saying to myself, how much does plastic actually have to do with carbon footprint and so forth? And the funny thing is, when you start to Google that, it's really shocking. So, like everything else in the world today, everybody has to take sides. You got to take sides: who you are, what color you, what language. Everybody's on the side. You take drugs, you don't take drugs. So everybody's taking sides with everything. Now we got the thing going on in Palestine. In other words, everybody's sides on things. One of the greatest things that I've ever known in my life was an auction, like an auction where everybody came from everywhere, and we never ever one time had an issue with people. In other words, and everybody, we're a mixed up thing. Auctions are unbelievable, mixed up with 50 languages and different things. People walking around with things on, but you never saw any animosity, right? In other words, it's like a melting pot where everybody actually gets along. And now we're taking sides with this thing, and everybody's going to take more sides. But everybody's taking sides with EVs and ICE cars. My question is this: if we're worried about an EV or an ICE car and global warming, you're like a Republican pig if you don't drive an ICE, electrical vehicle. You're looking to go, but walk in that person's house and all there is plastic everywhere. Why aren't we worried about the easiest thing to solve? And that would be the carbon footprint that's left with plastic. It has a half-life of 82 million years. The craziest part, when you start to Google that about plastic and its carbon footprint, turns out to be way greater than anything that has anything to do with an internal combustion engine. Way greater. It's like multiples greater, right? When you do the mental of, I recycle, and you put the plastic here and a can over there and a glass up there and something else over there, and you put it all in a plastic thing because you're going to go recycle. The funny thing is that only 5% of what gets recycled gets recycled. 5%. Some say 7%. But that means 90-some percent. When you do that whole thing, I do the correct thing. I get, hey, don't put that in that plastic. Put it in this plastic. And when you take it out, in other words, it was pure mental, because you didn't recycle anything. It goes out in the trash truck dumps it somewhere and goes into the landfill like anything else. For 2 million years, it's still plastic, doesn't disintegrate, right? Why don't we have the same people that are screaming and hollering whose side you're taking with internal combustion? Well, I have both. I'm okay with one or the other. Why don't we start talking about something you can actually solve? Like solve something. Stop using plastic. Figure that part out. That's a really simple modification of behavior. You know what I mean? Use a metal cup. Use a glass cup that you don't throw away, or something. Why do we do this thing as we're taking sides on ICE or EV, while the whole world is disintegrating with 3 different places that could turn into a nuclear war at any given moment? First of all, your president would never have an idea if we ever get into that war or not, because the guy's sound asleep at the switch, and the other orangehead talking about he could solve the whole thing. Well, I could solve it day one. Well, why don't you solve it now? What are you waiting for? Don't even be the president. Don't make you the president if you solve it now. It's just we're walking down a pathway, in my estimation. We don't have to worry about global warming. We're never going to get to that point. We're not getting to the point as long as we continue to take sides on the most minuscule, stupid things, and we allow the things that actually you could modify to make it possibly a place where humans could live for a while. Then you could even think about maybe it's EV or ICE. But before you do that, let's do plastic instead. Let's just do plastic right now, today. All the EV drivers, just stop plastic. Don't have it in your house. Don't use it no more. Don't put it in a plastic bag to take it out to the plastic container, to take it to the landfill that dumps it in the thing. Don't do that if you're so, politically correct and you're going to drive an EV. Don't do that. Don't make any sense to me. It's I know this is a rambling, nonsensical conversation, but it's actually like when you start to think about things, it gets to a point where it's inexplicably stupid the way we are, doing this division or thing between people about everything. You can't talk to anybody about anything without being on the side of somebody else against somebody else. It's the craziest thing in the history of the world. And unfortunately, I think we're having that issue with who likes EV and who likes ICE. Obviously the public don't like EV because other than a few Teslas that are getting sold, you can't sell a new whatever else you want to call it. Nobody cares, man. And after they've had it for a minute and that range anxiety sets in, they ain't going back for a second one, in my estimation. I don't see it happening, man, and definitely not on the auction block. That is a very clear distinction. That if those cars are getting to the point where you got to drop them to nothing in order to get them sold, evidently they don't have a high demand when they bring them back to the showroom. Does that make any sense to you, Shawnee? Probably doesn't, because I'm flying all over the place as normal in my psychotic, disorganized brain. But it's to me, it's. I think it's the circumstances that are even making it worse, disorganized.
As you were talking there, I was like, you know what? Bob's right. There is nobody. What is the name for the group of people that don't use plastics? Well, there isn't one, right? It's because
exactly.
There's name. That's very odd that there isn't. Like, where is that movement? There's vegans, vegetarians.
I don't know.
That's fine.
Doesn't it make sense, Sean? You just nailed it, Shawnee. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Why isn't there an association of? I don't really care about gas or EV. I don't want nobody using plastics. Do the acronym of that group, and I'm joining because I don't understand it, bro. You know what I mean? It's really weird. And the noise is so loud about the other thing, and another $20 billion invested in a startup company that's going to do more EVs. Okay, makes sense. And I don't know. It don't make sense to me. I can tell you that right now. And if we don't resolve this situation that's going on, not just in the Middle East, but with the whole Ukrainian thing, you got to stop and think for 1 second, right? This country at one time, many, 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 many decades ago, really was like a pretty interesting place, industrial-wise, everything else. First of all, we make nothing at this point, nothing. Oh, we make mats or something. Okay, gotcha. And we spend the money as if we have the money to spend. This sleepy guy talks about trillions, like an average guy would talk about $100 bills. We're giving your great-grandchildren's future away. You know what this is? This is buy here, pay here with our taxes and our government, right? The only difference is, at least with a buy here, pay here car, you get a car. And if you pay 65% interest, you get to keep driving it. In our case, we're spending the money. We never got the car. We sent the bombs. The bombs disappeared. They turned sand into glass. You follow me? In other words, and then there's more bombs, and then the fuel, of course, the carbon footprint. Don't talk about that. But now the bomb hit. It blew up. You know who's paying for that $14 million guided missile? You know who's paying for that? Your great-grandchildren, bro. We built it. We gave it away. And you're paying the debt on that. In other words, you bought a car, never got the car. Well, you got the car, but you crashed it the next day. And therefore, you have the honor of paying the interest on that in perpetuity. Trillions, many, 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 many trillions of dollars. And nobody is aware of it. Why is that? Because everybody's watching a football game. We just got done watching the baseball game. Now we're watching a football game. But nobody's thinking about the fact that you're taking debt on that is physically impossible to ever repay. That cripples our little world permanently. In other words, it's not something that, okay, well, time's up. We'll just say it doesn't happen anymore. The direction we're going in, and we're worried about gas or EV. Man, you gotta shut that noise down, bro. That's a diversionary tactic of facing the facts of being a buy here, pay here country without anything when you buy it. It's gone. It's physically gone. Nobody can talk about, well, we need to do it because of safety, of some safety or something. No, no, no. This is pure stupidity on steroids is what we're doing here. And I'm not like talking about I want to do one thing or another. I'm just stating facts of what's going on without any fear of actually looking at the facts and trying to wonder why these questions are not. You can say the word trillion. You see it all the time. Trillion. That don't mean nothing. It would take you 9 months to count to a trillion if you're using a computer. The numbers, forget the money. And now you're paying the interest on that permanently. Where's the money come from? It's got to come from somewhere. Where's it come from? I ain't worried about EVs or gas. Yeah,
I've never heard the statement "buy here, pay here" nation, but
that's what it is, Mo.
It sure is.
Shawnee, I'm not trying to be cute with that. You're buying something. You bought a house. You burn it down the next day. What I'm saying, that you bought the bomb, you bought the thing, you gave it to somebody, they blew it up. Now you're paying for that house, not for 30 years, but forever, because you're only making interest payments. You see what I'm saying to you? You ain't making no payments on nothing. That's why that number keeps on getting bigger and bigger. Nobody cares about it. They can't even say the word trillion. Right? It's not 15 trillion. Okay, well that didn't hurt that bad until you pay the interest on the first penny of it, and then think about who's going to make that payment. I don't think so. In other words, we're still talking about we're the greatest, we're the biggest, we're the best. I want that to be the case. Somebody says, Bob, go back in the Marine Corps. We need your help. I'll go tomorrow morning. I'll be a fat, worthless bum, and I don't care if I die because I'm going to die for my country. Let me do it. But can we just use our brain a little bit? You got to shut your mouth up. We got military in 120 countries around the world. 120 countries. We have a military base presence. China has a military base presence in 4 countries. Russia has in 8, but all 8 surround them. It's part of the old Soviet Union. That's not even like a big ordeal. We can't afford to have military in 120 countries. We can't afford it because when you're there, they hate us anyway, right? In other words, it's not like you're getting some goodwill out of it. You send them to here or there or wherever it might be. There might be a handful of countries that like us there, but there's the vast majority don't like us there. I don't care where it's at. Okay? And if that's true, we're spending the money that we don't have to maintain a policy that gets us nothing in return. It just is really weird to me. I think it's the energy that we spend talking about nonsensical things with the fear of global warming as your headliner, but we're not touching the things that actually mean anything. Plastic, bombs, debt. You follow me? Why don't we focus on that? And if anybody ever buys an EV, God bless them. I'm happy for them and so forth. But I don't think that it's really is important enough to take sides and hate everybody because the other side's doing something different, right? And make fun of people and all the rest of it. There's no point to that. It's nasty. It's no good.